All right, good morning and welcome to another episode of the DDD. Today, I'm going to cover something that I believe is a very core belief of mine. Beliefs are things that drive me, they're core beliefs, they're things that activate me, they're things that I follow every day. Now, before I get there, again, let me just introduce myself. If you're new to this, my name is David A. Perez, and I have written a book called Building Your Own Economy. I built a few businesses, and these businesses have a lot of things that go into financial services, but more importantly, I help people solve problems that are very complex in their business today. And I do that through a concept called building your own economy. So today, what I'm going to do is deliver a concept of how to get people to follow you. Now, I believe that everybody should be genuine in their actions and in their words. And because of that, this is really one of my core beliefs. Building a team is a core belief of mine. It's something I think I'm not going to say I'm the best at, because I don't know if anybody's the best at this. I can just tell you that I feel like I have figured out somewhat of a formula. And the formula is really simple when you understand it. Now, to preface today, I'll tell you that I scrambled to put this one together because I've got a lot going on, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliver what I believe in core values and then how these relate to you. And then if it doesn't flow right, just know that I'm going to put it all together somehow. Okay. I just want to preface that today. So let's go and start on. So leadership by definition is how you influence somebody. Influence is the act of leadership, the ability to get somebody to take action, to do something, to move, to push, to work, to play, to take action. These are things that leaders do. They get people to do things. And the more you're able to get somebody to take action, the more effective, by definition, you are a leader. Now, I've been following leadership for a long time. I follow many people in leadership today that, I follow. You see that? They influence me. I follow them. They influence me. And every single one of them has a very good characteristic behind them. And their characteristics that lie behind them are obviously authenticity, attitude, charisma, communication skills. These are all characteristics of a leader. There is one more fundamental thing that I'm not talking about, which is how you build leadership, right? So we talk about leadership in the sense that there are, in my opinion, three areas that you could probably become a leader: in your family, in your organization, and in your business. Now, organization could be a business as well, and business is business, but family is more important. So many people believe that leadership by definition is that granted to you by, let's call it seniority or kinship, right? So for an example, a father or mother could believe that they are a leader because of what their role plays in their organization, or in their family rather. And so when I think about leadership, I think, okay, leadership by definition is maybe somebody who has influence. Yes, you do have influence in your family. Yes, you may have leadership in your organization because maybe you're a deacon or a pastor, or you're somebody who's an organizer in the church. Yes, you could be the owner of the company. Yes, you could be a manager in the company, but really that doesn't mean anything. These are by definitions just authority that is given to you just by the grace of God, if you will, or put you in the right place. But you are not necessarily a leader unless you can actually lead by, and give me a second here real quick, guys. So unless you can lead by example, and we're going to talk about that pretty in depth right now. Leading by example is a very important part of leadership. When I think about leadership today, I think about the opportunity that we have to lead by example. This is probably the hardest part about leadership. It is the hardest part because if you think about it today, many people want to lead, but yet choose not to lead by example. Give you some examples of this very easily is just look at parents today, even yourselves. Be critical, be crucial, be somebody who is, reflective. You can't tell your children to be the best they can be if you're not the best you can be. You can't tell people to eat good if you don't eat good. You can't tell people to work out if you don't work out. You can't tell people to make a ton of money if you're not making a ton of money. You can't tell people to be a reader and you read very little. You can't tell people to do anything that you aren't doing yourself. By definition, leaders lead by example. And this is hard because many people think by authority they have by given through an authoritative way, which is obviously through your title or job or whatever, that you just have some sort of gift that people have to listen to you, even if you don't do it. The honest truth is you have to be the best you can be before you can lead anybody. You see, I think that's really one of the things that are qualities that I look for when I look for leadership in somebody. In fact, I'm probably more critical than most because I'm very self-aware, but I'm very self-aware so much that when I look at leaders today, anybody who I want to follow, I'm looking to see if they embody the characteristics of a leader that I want to follow. I truly do. Like, to the essence of their physical appearance. And I don't mean because if they're pretty or cute or good looking or handsome. I mean, if somebody doesn't take care of their body, then I really don't, honestly, I can't follow them as a leader. It's the honest truth. Because if you're not holding your number one, this thing, to high standards, then what areas in your life are you not holding other high standards? You see that? Like, that's how I see leadership. And so leadership by definition to me is how you lead by example. If you are, anything, in any organization, in any family, in any environment, in any business, if you aren't showing examples of what you're asking others to do, you cannot lead. You just won't be an effective leader. Maybe you'll get it because of authority, but it really won't work that long. So practice what you preach. And I preach pretty often. I mean, I'm not saying it biblical preaching or, gospel preaching, but I typically preach it at things because there are things that I do, right? When I tell people to make investments in real estate, I'm a real estate investor. When I tell people to go to the gym, I go to the gym. When I tell people to take care of their health, I follow a health plan. When I tell people to show up early and stay late, I do both of those. When I tell people I work on the weekends, I work my ass off on the weekends. When I tell people to drink water, I drink a ton of water. When I tell people to love their family, I love the heck out of my family. When I tell people to be faithful and strong, I'm faithful and strong. You see, I do what I tell people I am asking them to do. I do it already. I don't waver. I don't shake. I don't let go. I don't just do it sometimes. Because if I did it sometimes, people would have doubt in me as a leader. And this is why people have such struggles leading people. They have such struggle leading people because they can't lead through poor examples. They can't ask somebody to reach their potential when they're not trying to aspire to reach theirs. That's why you see some people who are high on the leadership scale for most people and some very low on the leadership scale. That's why when you go to a school district and you see a principal who leads through authority, not through influence. That's why you go to a church who, a pastor leads through authority, not through influence. That's why you go to a business who people leave and go, people come and go, people don't respect their boss, but they show up for a paycheck. It's because they don't practice what they preach and they lead through authority. These are reasons why people don't follow. So what you preach attracts a type of person or of people. And this is important to understand in leadership because you see, I'm tired of attracting the wrong people. I'm tired of it. I don't know about you, but to me personally, I can't stand getting people in my organizations, in my teams, in the things that I'm building that just aren't driven to succeed. I can't stand it. Now you're probably wondering, what does that mean? And some of them are on here. My team is on here, and I'm here to tell you, I hate it when I see people who don't want to do good for themselves. I love helping people try to discover what they can do or what they're capable of, but I absolutely hate attracting the wrong people, right? And so we get the wrong people every day or every year. I get new people on my team that are just the wrong people. And I think that as you progress as a leader, you stop attracting those people. You start attracting the right people. And so my team is a great team. I say it all the time because I am now attracting and have retained the right people. How do I know that? Well, they're the people who show up and get the job done, the people who are committed. Now, maybe there are areas of their life, just like I have areas of my life where we lack, but for the most part, they've done good. Now, let me tell you what I mean by you attract the right people. Here's how it works. When you elevate your leadership standards, when people join your team, they just will not be able to fit in. The culture will push them out. Your energy will push them out. Your drive will push them out. Your charisma will push them out. Your ability to pursue something will be so strong that they just can't handle it and they got to quit. I see tons of people quit all the time, every organization I've ever been associated with, because of how hard I push and demand of people. And I say that every day because this is just me sharing with my story, but I'm tired of letting people dictate my success And as soon as I did that, I started attracting the right people. And if you're willing to have low standards for your life, you'll always get low standards people. That's why there's some sales teams in the world that have huge sales teams and can produce at the highest levels, and they're super successful. And then there's some sales teams that suck. And it's typically because of poor leadership. And it isn't because the leader doesn't show up. It's typically because the leader is not charismatic, has no empathy, isn't pushing hard enough, isn't giving enough to their team, right? And they're not following what they preach, right? That's typically what it is. So frustration comes from the wrong people every single day. That's how I've learned, is when you become a leader, you'll realize the people you do want, the people you don't want, and then you start attracting those right people through your actions and your words. So finding the right people is really just a skill that will be manifested through tons of leadership. Now, to preface everything I've said today, I have never seen anybody just born with the characteristics of leadership. Leadership is something that is inherently grown. It is developed. It is innate. Now, I do believe that we all are gifted with certain things, like talents that we are gifted with, what my coach calls birthday gifts. And I believe mine is the ability to really understand things, to read people, to be able to communicate at a high level. I believe these are things I was gifted with. So maybe these have characteristics, maybe I have characteristics that I was inherently born with that make me, or give me the opportunity, not make me, give me the opportunity to be a better leader to the people that I serve. But I don't believe that anybody can't get these skills. Maybe just some will be more refined than others. But finding the right people really ties down to your ability to lead. And, some people are just good delegators and they consider that leadership. Some people are just communicators and they consider that good leadership. Some people are just talkers and they consider that good leadership, right? But leadership really shows up when you do. And that's how you find the right people. That is exactly how you find the right people. Now, I'm gonna break down a few things because you see, I don't think my team would work as hard personally if I didn't work as hard. But I do believe that there becomes an elevation point in leadership where you can now leave where you're currently at and exceed to the next level. And when you get to that next level, maybe it's a different work ethic. Maybe it's a different set of values. Maybe we're not values, that values can't change. Maybe it's a different work commitment level. Maybe it's a different workload. Maybe it's a different focus, right? All these things will happen. And that only happens when a leader is replaced by another leader. When somebody steps up and takes leadership, when somebody steps up and takes the reins and actually does something, and that is when leadership is relieved. And this is a hard deal because when you have a really great leader in a team, it's very hard to replace that person. But once it's replaced, the team continues to grow, and then that next leader gets to propel themselves to the next level, and now they can continue to grow and foster another level of leadership. And that type of leadership is more momentum leadership. It's more passive in a way, but it's really through life and visual leadership. So I have broken this down as simple as I could, but to really summarize, what I would tell you is I see a lot of people who really want to be successful in life today, who typically will say, I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to shoot for the stars and the moon and the sky. I'm going to develop and I'm going to create. I'm going to build a team. I'm going to make it happen for me and my family and my church and my organization and all the things in between. But on Sunday, all they did is plan out the Cowboy game, and they want their team to focus. They want their team to show up. They want their team to do something, but all they did is think about the Cowboys on Sunday, right? That ain't going to get you very far. And this is brutally honest because here's the deal. In order for you to develop leadership skills, you've got to commit to you before anyone else. You've got to give up. You've got to sacrifice. You've got to deliver. You got to show up every day. And it's not necessarily because you want to. It's because it's what you're made of. It's who you are. It's ingrained in you. That's how leaders are created. You push yourself. And I see this every single week when somebody tells me they want to be great, but they plan their vacation before they plan the week. They plan the weekend before they plan the week. They don't deliver to themselves, they deliver to others. They plan their kids' stuff before they plan their own, right? They spend money that they don't have before they even have it, anticipating sales that don't ever come through. This is poor leadership. This isn't example. This is poor examples of leadership today. poor. And it's not because I hate football, and it isn't because I don't want you to spend time with your kids, and it isn't because I don't want you to do something fun. It's just that if you intend to be a leader, there are sacrifices that need to be made. That's all it is. And sacrifices make you strong. And when you're strong mentally, when you're strong physically by showing up to the gym, when you're strong in your confidence, nothing can stop you. Fake confidence can happen every day. I can see people who say fake it till they make it and who act like they're going to be somebody in the world, but they ain't going to be anybody until they become great leaders who lead by example, who show up every day, who deliver at the highest levels, who say no to things that they want to do, but they know they shouldn't be doing, who show up for them before anyone else, who give and who give and who give what they have because they are showing it through example rather than authority. This is a sign of leadership that I've seen in most of the greatest leaders I've ever seen have always done what I just said, have always done what I've said. They sacrificed and they gave and they followed a plan and they showed the way. They didn't just tell the way, they showed the way. Leaders show the way and go the way, as John Maxwell says. They don't just show it, they go it. They lead by example. They drive home commitments by others and influence through their examples. And if this is something that you need to get better at, I encourage you to do it, because the more you get good at becoming a leader, because the more you become a leader, the easier it gets to do things in the world. 14 Peaks come to mind. Thank you, sir. So if you are in a state of we'll call it confusion, and you feel like you're frustrated and you're not exceeding or meeting your standards in life, if you feel like your income's not where it needs to be, if you feel like your health isn't where it needs to be, and you feel like you are somewhat of a leader to somebody, like a child or someone in your organization or in your church, if you have in a leadership position in any way in your world, in your life, then you owe it to yourself to be a better example for others. Then you owe it to yourself to show up better for them than you'll ever show up, than you show up for you. Because every time you show up better for you, you show up better for them. Every time you show up better for you, you show up better for them. Remember that every action is an example to somebody. Every action, your eating habits are examples, your health habits are examples, your workout habits are examples, your work ethic is an example. Don't let one fail to give to the others. All should be success. I believe wealth, I believe health, I believe legacies, and I believe core values are the driving forces of an economy. And because I believe those things, if you work on them and you strengthen them and you invest in them and you develop them, when you decide to lead people, or when people decide to be led, they will be influenced by you because of your actions and never through your words. And I have seen this happen so many times over because of the people that I've had the opportunity to lead. Nobody on my team would ever believe anything I said unless I did it first, just so you'll know. And I know that for a fact, because that's just how it is. If I wasn't willing to do the work, they wouldn't do it either. Now, that doesn't mean we have to do the same work, just to be clear, but if they knew that if I had to step up and get the job done, I would, they're willing to do it more than I am. But if they're not thinking I'll ever do it, well, then they probably will never do it, right? If they ain't thinking that I'm going to show up, they'll never show up. If they ain't thinking I'm going to work on Saturday, they'll never work on Saturday. If they don't think these things, you get it? I hope this helps you, Jeremy, and I hope it helps you, everyone. If you have questions here, I'm here to take them. I'm going to finish this off. Here we go. Connect with me if you have questions or something I can help you with. Please, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're just launching this big YouTube movement, so hopefully you get me on YouTube. Get a copy of my book by going to my website, davidapettis.com. I'd love to connect with you in some way, shape, or form. Today is a beautiful day to be alive, and more importantly, a beautiful day to be a leader in the communities that we serve. More importantly, a leader in your family, your organization, and the team that you may help to guide and mentor. So this is all I have for today, and I want to say thank you all for being here today. I hope you're having a successful and amazing Tuesday, and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great and fantastic day, guys. God bless you. Bye-bye.